This is probably the fastest scale that I've ever been part of. This DIY brand went from 30K per month to 500K per month in just 70 days until their fulfillment center completely broke down and they had no stock left. The secret wasn't some hack or trick. It was a systematic approach to rapid testing and scaling that most agencies get completely wrong. I'm going to show you the exact playbook and creative strategy that made this 15x growth possible. Here's how we did it. Before we go into the case study, here a quick business snapshot overview of the brand. So the website is nooktales.com. Here, if you want to check it out, they're basically selling high quality book nooks, so 3D puzzle kind of things that you can build yourself and put into your shelf, and they just look very nice and especially popular for people who are like Harry Potter fans, Magic fans, and those kind of things. So the industry is DIY, do-it-yourself. Primary market was the US, even though they're also selling in Europe and a bunch of other countries. The revenue before we partnered up was about 30K per month with an average order value of $75, a site-wide conversion rate of 0.8%. Their break-even return ad spend, so basically what kind of return ad spend they need to get for them to be profitable and to not lose money, is 1.9. So pretty healthy profit margins. And the blended customer acquisition cost target was to be below $30. So the goal was basically to not spend more than $30 to acquire a new customer, because with that we would have an above 2.5 return ad spend, which is enough for them to be profitable, not lose money, and not get too close to the break-even return ad spend. The main goal of the brand was to get to 100K per month in revenue, and also stop relying on content to go viral just to improve their sales and get their sales. So Nooktales as a brand launched in 2023 and quickly hit 30K per month in revenue, primarily through organic social media content. So they were already crushing it on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and regularly going viral and building a very strong brand presence. You can even still look at their Instagram account. They're at 285,000 followers, and pretty similar on TikTok. They were at 260,000, and on YouTube at 15,000 subscribers, and had a bunch of videos that were just going viral. So here we see one with 2.3 million views, 3.8 million views, 19 million views. And that's how they got very, very quickly to 30K per month in revenue. But despite the viral success, they just hit a wall. No matter how much content they created, how viral their videos went, they just couldn't break past that 30K ceiling. With that, the two founders were just overwhelmed, doing everything themselves, stressed about relying on viral hits for revenue, also unable to predict or control their growth, and really struggling to afford hiring help. They tried hiring an email marketing agency first and focusing on improving conversion rates and customer retention. So they hired an agency that built out sophisticated email flows, increased their subscription base, improved their returning customer rate by 36%, but actually their revenue dropped 33% that month. And the reason was they were just solving the wrong problem. So let me show you the exact process we used to identify and fix the real problem and crush it for them. So the step one is the theory of constraints analysis. So every business has one primary constraint that is holding back its growth. So we analyzed the whole business, including the website, the customer journey, the content, the SEO, the email marketing. And our analysis revealed that the website conversion rate wasn't great, but it also wasn't the main constraint. Email marketing was working very well, but it was highly limited by the traffic, by the number of signups that they were getting. The customer retention can be improved, but also not the main lever. And the traffic, only 1,800 visitors per day, despite the viral content, that was the constraint. So they were missing predictable and scalable traffic. Because with the conversion rate, for example, being at 0.8, there's definitely room for improvement. But you remember they were at 30K per month and their goal was to get to 100K per month. So more than 3x their business, their revenue. And with their, if to achieve that, they would have needed to more than 3x their conversion rate. And it's very, very important, very, very difficult, if not even impossible, to triple your conversion rate. Obviously, you can, there are thousands of things that you can do to improve the conversion rate, but usually those things give you like a 10% bump, a 20% bump, sometimes maybe a 50% bump if you're lucky. And with that, to get to the 3x growth that they wanted to achieve would take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and be very difficult. On the other side, with the traffic, it's nowhere near impossible to triple the revenue, to triple the traffic, even 5x, 10x, 20x the traffic. Like with the traffic, there's really no ceiling how high you can go. The only challenge there is obviously being able to afford the traffic and being able to get the right traffic to the site. So looking at the traffic, we developed a simple formula. If each visitor is worth $2 in profit for the e-commerce brand, and we are able to get traffic to buy traffic for $1 per visitor, then we basically could create an unlimited money glitch, because we would pay $1 to get someone to the site, and they would immediately bring $2 in profit to the brand. And with that, like, the brand would have no issues at all, just spending as much as humanly possible, putting as much money as possible into that machine, because they know that they get it twice back. So our strategy focused on meta ads, targeting the ideal customers, Google ads across search, shopping, and YouTube Shorts, again, targeting the dream customers and people specifically in the market for products like that, and using proven viral content in the paid campaigns, in the paid ads. So with this brand, we had the huge advantage that they already had massive success on the organic side of things, and they had those videos that completely went viral and had millions and millions of views. So looking at that data and analyzing all of that content, it was for us very easy to pinpoint what kind of content really resonates with the audience, what kind of content do the audiences like, and then basically just taking that best performing content and turning that into ads, and then also creating a feedback loop, creating new content and similar content based on historic success on the organic side of things, and basically just applying that to the paid ads side of things. Because with them, they didn't have any experience with running ads and didn't have any past data that we could rely on in terms of ads, what worked, what didn't work. So we had to completely rely on that organic data and the organic content to make our initial creative strategy and the initial decisions. So when we partnered up in the first week, we started with a foundation. So basically, we always do like a very, very in-depth brand research, competitor analysis, content audit, and optimization. So basically, analyzing the whole business, analyzing the audiences, where they spend their time, what they do, what they like, what they don't like, their emotional triggers, their fears, and all of those things that are just massive for a good marketing strategy and are crucial when it comes to coming up with the advertising angles, with the creatives, with the copy. And for this brand, it ended up being a 20-page document, really like going deep into the brand, the audience, the competitors. Then, as I mentioned, also looking at the content, looking at everything that they've ever created or posted across all platforms, and then really analyzing what worked, what didn't work, what did people like, what they didn't like, what made them engage with it, share it, and just analyzing everything from that standpoint. Obviously, also setting up all the tracking, all the reporting, making sure that all the data is there, that we're measuring every single step in the customer journey and across every single platform, just so that we have data there and can make the optimizations based on that. And then already launching the first ads. So since we already had a lot of data from the organic content, it was very quick for us to come up with the first batch of ads. the first batch of copy and creatives and just launch it across social media and Google. And with that, we had like a very, very strong start from the get-go. The brand, the founders were very hesitant, like even just starting with paid ads in general and giving it a try, because they saw that competitors were advertising, and with that they thought that it's already saturated and that the competitors are already running ads and basically buying up all the traffic. But I explained to them that if competitors are running ads, it means that it works for them, it's profitable for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be running the ads. So it's an even better signal for us that we should be double downing on the ads and doing those. So they agreed to giving it a try, but we're still very conscious. So we started with a very low budget. In the first 4 days, on Meta we spent $192, and on Google we spent $210. So we started with roughly $50 per day per platform, and immediately the results were very strong. On Meta we had a 5.37x return ad spend, and on Google, including some branded and some like people who had searched for the product specifically, but on Google we had a close to 20x return ad spend in the first 4 days. And before that, the founders were like really afraid of investing money into ads and wanted for us to start as low as possible, spend as little as humanly possible to get the first results. And after those initial 4 days, they already saw how it worked, and they immediately saw the spike in sales on Shopify. And they just told us, yeah, it works. You can spend as much as you want, as much as you can, as long as we get a positive return on investment. So from that point on, we started scaling and increasing the budget pretty aggressively, because with a lot of products and with a lot of creative angles, you just have a limited time window of how long it really works and how long you really get a great return on ad spend, return on investment. So if you find something that really works and that is very, very profitable, you should scale it up as quickly and as much as you can to just not to waste any of the time, and yeah, get results as quickly as possible. So we started the scale up, and here you see over the first 11 weeks of working together, the total ad spend, and then for us the most important metrics with that, the new customer CPA, the average order value, orders, the blended return on ad spend, and the revenue that they had. So first week, we only spent $428. We had a total of 91 new customers with a $4.71 new customer CPA, 99 orders in total, and the revenue was $7,500. So that one, there was still like a big portion of organic sales, organic traffic that were coming from that. But then we started ramping up. So the week after, we spent $1,600, and the revenue already increased to $12,000 in that week. Then we spent $2,000, the revenue went up to $16,000, and then we just kept increasing the budget, $3,500, $5,000, $5,700, and then we made a huge jump to spending $20,000 per week, $26,000, $31,000, $32,000, and then we scaled back again a little bit to $27,000. So you see how in the first couple of weeks of working together, like previously, they were making $30K per month in revenue, so about $7,000 per week, $7,000 to $8,000 per week in revenue. And that is also what we kind of did in the first week, because we only spent $400 on ads. But then like after that, every single week was a new record week for them by far. And you remember how their goal was to hit 100K per month in revenue. And actually, in week 7 of working together, we hit 126,000 in 1 week. So completely surpassing their goals and their target. With that very aggressive ramp up, you see that the return ad spend, the blended return ad spend, and the new customer acquisition cost also went up. And that is what happens if you scale, and if you scale very, very aggressively. So in the beginning, we had like a 6 to 7x total return ad spend, and then it dropped down to 4 and to 3. And the new customer acquisition cost also was at $10 to $12 in the beginning, but then it started to go up to 15, 20, even $25. And this is the moment where we decided to start scaling back again, because we scaled up very, very aggressively. The brand wasn't prepared at all. There were like a lot of issues on the back end, and also the creative operating system wasn't fully prepared, and they weren't prepared for that kind of ad spend, for that kind of orders. Like the fulfillment, they were completely overwhelmed. The stock was completely, they had no stock left. There was also like customer support issues with that crazy amount of number of new customers that they were getting. There was also pickup in customer support that they had to handle. And at the same time, they weren't able to create enough new content and make sure that we have enough new content to continue scaling up as aggressively. And we had some creative fatigue there. So we had to start scaling back again and reducing everything again to make sure that the total return ad spend and the customer acquisition cost doesn't go too high, or the return ad spend too low. But basically, in the span of 2 months, we were able to start from zero in terms of paid advertising and skyrocket the daily ad spend to up to 5,000, which was like at the peak, we spent 5,000 in one day, generating Nooktales up to 39,000 in daily revenue. So what they were making 2 months prior to that, what they were making in a month, we were able to turn into their daily revenue. We obviously achieved the goal of hitting 100K per month and even surpassed it a little bit, getting to more than 500K per month in revenue after 2 months. That led to the founders who thought they had the infrastructure in place to handle more sales, realize that they didn't have the infrastructure in place to handle that kind of increase in sales. But the great thing is it allowed them to stress test everything and use that case to really figure out and realize where the next issues are, what the next constraints are, and what they need to change and improve to have everything work properly. There were a lot of issues with shipping and fulfillment, so they decided to change their 3PL. They suddenly had way more customer support that they had to do, so they decided to hire someone for that. And they had to basically make sure that everything works at 20x the volume. As for the other constraints, like the conversion rate or the average order value, we only implemented 2-3 minor changes. As I mentioned before, we really wanted to focus on that one thing that is having the most impact for the brand. But by implementing those small changes and also simply running really targeted paid ads and not only on relying on organic traffic from viral content, we automatically doubled the conversion rate and increased the average order value by 8%. So without even focusing without even focusing on it, but only focusing on the one big constraint, we were able to increase those as well. Maybe even more than if we would have focused on just increasing the conversion rate or the average order value. So let me just break down what made this possible. So first, identifying the real constraint, like really figuring out what is the number one issue that is holding this brand back from growing. Then starting small and proving the concept. So initially, in the first couple of days, the ad spend was very low. We just wanted to show the founders that it works, how it works, and that we were able to get a positive return on investment. But then once we have that proof of concept, once we have profitability, scaling as aggressively as possible and really not be afraid to double, triple, 5xing the budget in a very short time frame and just keep going. And the fourth and also very big one for this one is just using existing viral content in paid campaigns. We see a lot of brands that crush it in terms of organic content. They're amazing at creating organic content and they have amazing engagement. They get followers, people love it. Things go viral, all of those things happen, but then they don't use that content in ads. They use something completely different in ads. They use like normal ad content for the ads and organic content for the organic side of things. But what we've realized over the last couple of years is that usually stuff that performs really well organically and goes viral organically is also the best content for ads. Because in the end, it's the same platform, it's the same approach. And if people are on Instagram, on Facebook, they want to see engaging content, they want to see good content. And if something goes viral, it's usually a sign that it's good content, engaging content. So in the ads, we want to use exactly the same type of content and pick what works organically, use it in ads. Also see what works in ads, use it as organic content, and basically have that feedback loop, feedback cycle, and consistently be improving the content across all platforms. With that, with those things, Nooktales went from praying for viral hits to having a predictable growth system that turned their previous monthly revenue into their daily revenue. So if you're stuck at a revenue plateau like Nooktales was, we'd love to help. Click the link in the description to book a free strategy call with me, where we'll analyze your business and show if the same approach could work for you or what kind of approach could work for you. And also drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway from this case study. Don't forget to subscribe for more e-commerce growth strategies that actually work. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.